Chapter 5 Structures, Types of Structures. 5.1 Chapter 1 provides the guidance for maintaining structures that are part of trackage and some that may affect the railroad operations. The bridges and trestles and boxes and culverts are used for the water crossing, pedestrian walkways, roadways, and other draining systems, and the tunnels and cuts are either to penetrate the hills and pass under the bridges and other structures. The preventive ensuring paragraph of this chapter describes the effective preventive maintenance and other corrective measures appropriate for several type of deficiencies usually encountered. 5.2 Supporting structures. Bridges, trestles, and buildings shall be inspected using designated procedure and checkpoints. Supporting structures and elevated cranes should be inspected following each crane load test. When cranes or load tests are 125% more than manufacturer's rating, and capacity inspection reports shall be reviewed, and random or observation made of rail support connections, braces, beams into column joints. The indication of movement and deterioration of stress broken of defective components shall be scheduled for repair and replacement for wood, steel, and concrete crane columns and beams and braces, girders, and other structures. Members indicates that the settlement of misalignment or deflection shall be recorded. Deflection, movement, or settlement under the routine is in surface loading exceeding established limits shall be investigated and analyzed. Degrees of damage, documentation, classification of hazard, determine structural conditions leading to a critical or catastrophic category of a section of trackage that shall be based on very structural analysis on any condition of every survey to conducted on competent engineers in sufficient detail to establish safety structure. Section 2 Maintenance of the structures. 5.3 Bridges of culverts. Railroad bridges may be constructed of steel, concrete, masonry, and wood. Steel bridges may be truss through panel girds, deck truss, and deck panel girded types. These bridges may be open deck or ballast deck. These, as far as the bridge structures is concerned, the maintenance procedures are generally the same for all types. However, the track maintenance will differ from the open deck of ballast deck bridges. 5.3.1 Open the deck trek and open the deck trackage. On the deck of the trackage, bolts secure the ties of the stringers may be worked loose of the bearings areas of the ties on the stingers become worn as ties shall shrink, and within the moisture changes as a rot insect damage and can result in excessive gauge and alignment deficiency. And figure 5.1 shows all deck pile trestles and especially designed for dumping of hopper bottom dump cars. 5.3.2 Ballast deck trackage. Ballast deck trackage is maintained in the same manner as on a regular roaded. The only extra maintenance is required from the trackage to keep the drain holes unplugged and free drained. 5.4 The guardrails. On the structural approaches, the guardrails are installed and guide equipment and prevented from leaving the rail. Maintaining guardrails in first-class condition requires the loose of spikes is replaced and redriven and broken and tied be placed in joint bars of track bolts is be tightened. The maintenance operation should be performed in at least quarterly on heavily used trackage. 5.5 Expansion and bearing assemblies. All expansion joints and maintained clean and free and compressible material when structures. Here is a picture of open deck piled trestle special ballast deck trackage. Open deck structures expand could cause stress exceeding the design capability. Bearing assembly must be kept clean and well lubricated. Bearing assembly expansion joints shall be lubricated or cleaned annually or semi-annually. 5.6 The corrosions for the metal portions of the trackage structures must commonly prevent maintenance and periodical planning. Effective painting requires proper preparation. Surfaces or painting use of proven primers or paints for metals and normal in environments of nominal cleaning within the hand of the power of the tools which should be provide adequate preparation of the main painting. Surfaces are subjected to corrosive environmental, industrial, marine, abrasive ballast. Coatings shall be applied immediately and carefully prepared and cleaned surface. The most corrosion resistant top coating for this such surface of vinyl paint conform the DoD intermediate specification of VR3 and VR6. What type, how many coats are to be applied with depending on condition and existing surface and cutting and frequency at which repainted refers to paint and protective coatings manual TM 65618 AFM 853 MO 1110 or MO 110. 5.7 Structural drainage. Periodic inspection of weep holes near the bases of structures reveal that they have become plugged and ineffective. A small wrecking bar, a smaller tool sufficient to unplug the weeping holes. The following measures should be taken for the weep holes frequently become plugged if the plugging material is in earth and debris and carried into the hole behind the structure. A screen should be inserted at the rear of the weep hole to prevent the plugging of the weep holes and animals and birds who enter the front face of the structure. Screen should be placed across the front of the hole. Concrete structures. The most effective preventive maintenance of concrete structures, waterproofing of the surface. Both cementous and bituminous coatings are used for the purpose. Both provide degree of waterproofing and tend to minimize and eliminate the absorption moisture that can result in concrete deterioration. Which color is consideration of bituminous coatings are used or not. When color is considered, bituminous coatings are not used. Repair of concrete structures. Repair the structures. Concrete requires the careful preparation of the best concrete used. As such, repair of the ineffectual use of implied sound. Properly prepared concrete. Original structure. The deficiency of concrete must be removed to expose hard, strong material. The area repaired must be cleaned and require washing in acid water. Keep clean in the application of the repair materials. The repair concrete repairs must be Portland cement concrete or a system of epoxy resin grout and concrete. The depth of the extent of the needed repair, the environmental to which the require structure subjected, require the flexibility of the time available for making the repair. Determined in conventional Portland cement and concrete. The epoxy system is to be used. Relatively concrete repairs, patches, and limited extent can be accomplished within more expensive epoxies. Deep repairs, large extents are usually accomplished by Portland cement and concrete, which is incidentally take for longer to attain the design strength. 5.9 Trestles. To make the maximum possible degrees, all wood should be prefabricated before pressure treated. All dimensions individual members shall be anticipated, including the location, size of all holes drilled into each member. Rats, insects, and marine boars can be expected to attack wood, and whether it has been drilled or filled. Field applied to the preservatives at such points is mandatory, but not as effective as pressure applied preservatives. Preventive maintenance is wood structures, including periodic checking, the renewal and surfaces applied to preservatives, exposed cut-off dams and recessive and piling, and timbers, especially in vulnerable cut-off pile top, frequently covered with flex fabric, metal, or as to shed the rain. The timber trestles, piling, and other wood and structures should be examined in soundness and boring with the auger, and deterioration is suspected when necessary to meet the engineering analysis. 5.10 Undercutting. The scores developing undercutting structures, footing, foundation immediately effective. The corrective measures must be taken. Preventive loss to the entire structures. The engineering analysis should be undertaken to determine the scope and safety of the proper repair. Structures and approach to trackage. Adequate effective maintenance of trackage and structures approaches as essential as maintenance of the structures. Poor trackage maintenance can cause excess vibration. Undue stresses of structures can result in deterioration and derailment. Here's the trestles on concrete piers. And on to chapter 6. Safety.